I guess we're really just supposed to start, which is what we're going to do now. This is the event of the night with Alexandra Penfold. You go by Alex, right? Alex Penfold and Suzanne Kaufman. You go by Suzanne, I assume?
Yes.
Not Suze. Suzanne Kaufman, Alex Penfold, and me, I'm your host. I'm Philip. I'm from Community Bookstore, who's hosting this event. We have a website on which we have more events. Fewer kids events than adult events, but we're pretty booked with adult events. So if you want to link and find good books to read and listen to people talk about them, go for it. What you need to know about this is that we can see each other and you guys can see us, you attendees, but we cannot see or hear you. So when you have comments, please type them in the comments bar. When you have questions, please type the questions in the question field and we will address them later. We'd also like to thank Park Slope parents for co-sponsoring this event. Thanks, guys. And I will also link to the sale of the book in the comments later. Finally, I did the question answer. Oh yeah, be nice. Sometimes there's technological stuff that messes up, or even vocal stuff that messes up, like just now. Just, you know, we're just people and those are just wires. Some things happen. It'll be okay. If there are real glitches, type it in the comments. I'll try to address them as best I can. And finally, I need to introduce these wonderful stars, but I don't think they need an introduction because they've already been entered everyone's minds and hearts with this thing, which was lovely. And now they have this one. Usually before events, I just, you know, to meet people, I ask them about stuff. And it turns out that when Alex said that she likes Halloween candy, Suzanne just jumped on that. I love Halloween candy too. And they have some overlap. So I think I'm just going to start with a silly little question, namely, as adults, what do you put out for Halloween? Do you put your favorites out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I can test them before Halloween if they're still good.
All right, you too. You don't just get the grab bag of everything.
Oh, I mean, we usually get a grab bag, like a Costco size bag, of the mix that often has like Snickers and Reese's.
Nice.
And we always try to have an alternative for kids that can't have nuts. So we usually have some kind of Kit Kat. And this year we did Witch's Brew Kit Kats, which have a marshmallow flavor, and they're green. So pretty great. And then Halloween Kit Kats, which are white chocolate, less great, but they're orange. So
yeah,
back to great, you know.
They fit. Yeah. And I also just wanted to point out that Suzanne had super inflation on the 100 grams. She made them 1,000 grams because she thinks they're so great.
1 million grams.
They're just 1 million.
When you're a kid, you think they're so big.
And we're at the age where we're out usually, so we usually put out a bowl
right.
with that little sign that says "Take one" because my kids are trick-or-treating age. But I hope when they move beyond that stage to be home and to give out king-size bars, because that was always the most exciting thing, like ever. If you got like a
king size, generous.
I mean, it's fun.
Yeah,
a hero's bounty.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
You've made it. Your quest is over.
So I think we can just jump in. People are here. You guys are here. Alex, in case you didn't know, is the author and Suzanne is the illustrator, but I think they'll probably introduce themselves as they see fit. Take it away, people.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. This is my first webinar, so it's a little strange that I can't see you, but you can see me. So I'm delighted that you could come, and I'm looking forward to sharing my new story with you. Hold on one second.
I can hop in again too. I'm back with sound, and now I'm back with, come on. I thought I could be back with my image too. Oh, there we go.
Sorry. Kid trouble. Okay. I am going to read tonight, or today rather, is the publication date for our new book. Many of you friends from the neighborhood know a little bit about our book, All Are Welcome. And today we have a book that's come out called Big Feelings. And this has all of our friends from All Are Welcome, and they're having a new adventure, this time outside of school. And what starts with a day where they have a big plan that they're going to do one thing, ends up having a lot of feelings when it doesn't quite go to plan. I know I felt that myself today multiple times. So I am going to share my screen so that we can all see the story together, and I'm going to read it out loud. And then Suzanne is going to show us how to draw some of our friends, and we'll take any questions. We could talk a little bit about making the book. Okay, so Big Feelings. One of the cool things about the book that I want to show you, which is like a little bit of a secret before you open it, you get the book, and like All Are Welcome, it had a poster on the back. Well, so it is Big Feelings. So you guys, this is a first bookstore event. So you guys are some of the first kids or grown-ups to get to see the book. And so this says, we all have big feelings. And it has a lot of our friends from the book. And it shows all sorts of different things that they're feeling. So we hope that you guys will enjoy this poster. Maybe you can put it up in your room or put it somewhere so you can look at the different kids and think about how you're feeling on any day. And this is what we call in publishing the case cover. So this is what the book looks like without its jacket. And these are the end papers. So it looks kind of a lot like our neighborhood in Brooklyn, for those of you who are in Park Slope, Kensington, Windsor Terrace area. Big Feelings by Alexandra Penfold and Suzanne Kaufman. It's time to play. Big plans today. But sometimes things get in the way. Feeling bold, feeling mad. Goodbye, happy. Hello, sad. I have big feelings. You have them too. How can I help? What can we do? Talk it out? Talk it through? I am sorry. I am too. New plans today, and that's okay. We won't let this get in the way. I feel hopeful. I feel tired. I feel frustrated. I feel inspired. I have big feelings. You have them too. How can I help? What can we do? Work together. Build a crew. Begin again. Start anew. I feel excited. I feel scared. I feel nervous. I feel prepared. I feel hopeless. I feel low. I want to quit, give up and go. We all have big feelings, both me and you. How can we help? What can we do? See another point of view? This is one of my favorite pictures in the whole book because all of the kids, they realized we could still have fun even though our day was rained out and all of our big plans changed. So this is where, whenever I read it to my kids, we always do dance, 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 yay, splash, splash, dance. This is our world. This is our home. Whatever we're feeling, we're never alone. The end. So all the kids are back home. They've had a good day. They're saying goodnight to their friends.
Yay. So I'm not sure, is it me on screen now? I'm not sure. All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you guys right now. I'm going to do a little drawing. Maybe it just takes a second. There we go. So we all have big feelings, right? I thought it'd be fun to draw some of the characters in these big feelings. All right. These are some of the kids in the book. All the different kinds of emotions. This is really, really fun to draw. These are based on mostly real kids we know in our neighborhood. And we're going to start with this character, Ludden. Ludden is happy. Len's a real kid in Seattle. She's probably the happiest kid I've ever met. She's always has a funny little joke or something to share. And so I'm gonna draw her first. So when I draw characters, I always start with the face shape. So with her, I'm gonna start with the circle. Circle is kind of a fun way to start, but you can start with a square or a triangle, anything you wanna try, you can try that as your base shape. But today we're gonna do a circle. First of all, also Ledin is Muslim, so she wears a hijab. And so I'm gonna show you how to draw that too. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is a circle. Then I'll do another circle within the circle. And then 2 straight lines, because you want to make sure you cover her shoulders. And then another half circle for the bottom of her hijab. Now she's happy. So we're going to draw really happy eyes, big, bright, happy eyes. Before that, I'm just going to put this line on and finish that hijab. We're going to do, I call them football eyes. A little football, a little football. And she's happy to see you. So she's looking up. And then a little nose, which is kind of like a half pyramid. And then a big smile. And her smile, for everybody who wants to try this on their own, I love to think about it as a D that falls over on its belly. Now here's a D. I put a line for the teeth, 2 lines for the teeth she's missing, and then I just color in. All right. So that is Ledin. She's happy. And she loves to help people and things like that. She's an awesome kid. All right, the next kid is the main character, Kylie. Also, I refer to her as Jessica. She's inspired by Alex's daughter's friend named Kylie, and then also my friend Jessica Bagley, who's another author illustrator. And of course, I'm going to start with the circle again. So I do a circle. Now she's sad. Sorry, show that. There you go. Sorry about that. There you go. Start with a circle. Now she's sad. Now, with her, I start with the circle. I'm gonna do 2 ears, and the ears are simple to think about: a C and a D. And then you can place the eyes anywhere you want to. You can do circle, you can do football. So I'm gonna do circle this time. And she's so sad, putting these little lines through the eyes. She's kind of got sad eyelids. She's got a little half pyramid nose. She's so sad that imagine it's like that D again. But when it falls over, it falls on its back. So that's one way of doing like a sad face. But you can also do just a little curve, or I find sometimes the most intense emotions are the smallest thing drawn. So just a little half circle makes her feel really sad. So Jessica and Kylie, when they feel sad and they want to feel better, they love to make art. They love, and so if you ever feel like sad, you just want to, maybe make yourself feel better, think about making something, cooking, dancing, music, just doing something like that might make you feel better. So as I'm finishing up this drawing, I want to do her awesome hair, some just little cool squiggles. So I just have fun and I make these kind of big squiggles. I kind of make it, overlap them there to make them darker. And then I do these fun little figure 8s for her poofs. Not worrying about how they're going to look. They're just kind of super cute. And then a cute little line for hair tie. And the last thing I do is I'd like to put the initials. If you guys go into the book, every character has initials in their ears for their real names in real life. So I'm going to put, I use Jessica's. So there's a J and a B in his ear. All right, so that's Kylie or Jessica. And then one more, one of my favorite and mostly kids' favorite is Sochil, or Sochi for short. They're a really cool kid. They're super tall, like the tallest in their class. And again, I'm gonna start with the circle. And Sochil is a very relaxed, mellow kid. And they are so relaxed, they actually fell asleep. So I'm gonna start with the ears. I'm gonna do a C and a D. And then the eyes are so relaxed, she's sleeping. I'm gonna do a half circle, another half circle, a little pyramid, half pyramid for the nose, and then she's so relaxed, her mouth is wide open, blah. And her tongue is kind of hanging out. Then finally for her hair, we do these really cool little dots. Her hair is usually shaved short. She kind of has like a mohawk. She ties up on the top, and you can do it any way, but you can use this for any kind of kid that's got short hair, little kind of quick dots. And then her hair is pulled up in a little ponytail like that, which is super awesome. And then finally, she's so sleepy. She's snoring and chilling away. And that is Sochi. Thank you, guys. Let me put you guys back on screen. All right, that was super fun. Yay. Oh. We
I'm
good?
back.
All right,
I think
yay.
you guys are great. I loved it. I just flew through the book as quickly as I could to see if I could see the initials in the ears, and they're there. With the what? What
Oh
made
yeah,
you
there's
think
a
of?
lot of amazing hidden details in all the books. I've been looking at these books for a number of years now, and I
Yeah.
still, in All Are Welcome, will find new details that Suzanne has snuck into the art. It's really fun. If you have a chance at home to follow any of the kids throughout the story, and you can notice little subtle things that they're doing. And I didn't know about the initials in the ears for like a couple years since All Are Welcome, and it was pointed out to me by a teacher who messaged me on Instagram and was like, "Why are there letters in the kids' ears?" And I was
Oh,
no, I hadn't noticed. So then Suzanne told me that she puts the letters of some of the people that either have inspired the kids or the names of the kids in their ears. So actually, Suzanne and I are both in the book, and that last little screen share that she did. You can find us, we're in All Are Welcome, but you can find us in this book, we're in the tree. And I am wearing
Wait, what?
a yellow sweater.
She's always wearing a yellow sweater.
I'm always, I know, it's surprising I'm not wearing it today. I meant to put my yellow sweater on.
That's so fun. Do you usually wear a yellow sweater?
I do. I often do.
Suzanne, what made you think of putting initials as the little ear things?
There's I can't think of his name. It's a very famous illustrator from the 50s. He used to put Nina, his daughter Nina. It's a really famous, did a lot of stuff for the New Yorker.
Hirschfeld.
Yep. That's why. Yeah, I guess he would put Nina in all of his pictures, his daughter's name. He'd hide it in the illustrations. I thought that was great.
Say the name again, sorry.
Al Hirschfeld.
Okay, Al Hirschfeld.
All those amazing theater line drawings.
Mhm.
And what I loved was that he lived to be very, very old, and he still kept up the tradition from when she was a little girl. So he was like 90 and Nina was like 70. And he was still writing her name in all of the things.
Yeah, it's
That's
so cool.
touching, you know?
That is. Wow. Are there questions from the attendees? I am sneaking around. And not yet. I didn't even think of questions. I'm a bad host. Think one. You kind of went fast through the book. When things got in the way, that takes a while to decipher.
Yes.
Right, as the reader first time, what do you mean things got in the way? They're just, what's happening? So that's really bold on your part to just, state it and have people figure it out, which really invites the kids in right away.
Yeah, our hope with the books is really to leave a lot of space for the kids to find themselves and to kind of piece together a lot of what's happening in the story. And so one of the things in Big Feelings is that we wanted to create something that offered an opportunity for kids to really talk about their feelings and to identify feelings, identify with them, and open up kind of a conversation about how like all of these feelings are okay. It's okay to be mad. Like it's okay to be frustrated. There's a lot of times when that's going to happen, especially if you have a plan, kind of no matter what the plan is. Yeah. Whether it's just little, you're going to go play for the day, and that if that's your plan, that's a big deal to you. And how we get frustrated when things don't quite go according to plan, but it's okay to feel all of these different feelings that we might feel, and that it's important to think about how can we deal with these feelings? How can we handle these feelings? What's a good way to use and understand how we're feeling, and how can we do that to affect what we actually do. So our hope is that kids would see that and understand that it's okay to be mad. There's going to be a lot of times when you're mad and when you're frustrated, and sometimes you might be mad at your friends, or sometimes what we wanted to show is a contrast between you may be feeling super happy, but it may sometimes be at the expense of someone else feeling sad. And that's an important thing to acknowledge and figure out how to address. And that's why we wanted to kind of put in there the how can I help, what can I do? Because oftentimes it's just like, well, we have all these feelings, and kids and even us as adults, especially right now, am I right? Are having a lot of big feelings. And sometimes it's just kind of a checking in with yourself, which is sort of part of what kind of the poster's for, being able to like be like, so how are you feeling right now? I'm like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm really tired, or I'm really hungry, and that's making me kind of angry. And I'm like, well, what can we do? Well, we could have a snack, we could have dinner, we could have, so we hope that it'll allow little people and big people to have these kinds of conversations and help them in their day to day. And Suzanne did such an amazing job bringing all of the characters' faces and expressions, and really thinking out like how each of the children would be feeling in a particular moment based on kind of what their plan or wish or hope expectation was.
Yeah. One thing about the book that I think we talked about is that we both read a lot of books about feelings before we made the book. We knew we wanted to because we were inspired by teachers, but we wanted to make the book so open that, and so I think kind of simple doesn't justify it, but like, so that a kid can feel, I mean, first of all, kids are so smart, and we feel like heavy-handed books are just like not, anything that they could take from. And so we wanted a book so simple that they could actually make their own. Like they could each tell their own kind of big feeling story in a simple way. And I think that's one of the things we talked about, like how do we, because I don't know if you guys, the writing is so wonderful, Alex. It's like, it's the voice of a child, a smart kid, and there's just so much complexity, and that an adult can take a lot from it too, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, it was really important to us to like not tell a kid how to feel or what they should feel or what they should do, but to allow the art to kind of model what they're feeling, what the situation is, and kind of hint to the solution, so that like it allows the kids to piece things together, because kids are so smart, and they understand, and they don't like, none of us like being told what to do or what to think, but we hope it allows them to talk about feelings some more, and figure out how, when they're experiencing something that feels hard or frustrating or sad or even happy, what can they do with those feelings?
And, don't forget, and Alex, remember we talked about this. If you guys notice in the book, there's not one adult. We want it to be like Peanuts, where it's like there's no adult intervention. And I mean, you remember being a kid, like 90% of your time is like, how do we solve it with each other without, don't get your parents, but and I think that's the thing, is kids can solve these things on their own. So I think that's kind of part of the book. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, we have questions from audience members now. I'm going to prioritize the youngest people first. Sorry,
Yay.
Robin and Jessica. Henry apparently has a question for both of you, namely, what were your favorite books when you were 7? So do the time machine, go back 4 years.
Yesterday.
2 for me.
Yeah, exactly. And go.
Okay, I'm going to say Snowy Day.
Oh.
I read that book all the time. Dreaming of New York, I think. Yeah, but I did the Snowy Day, the Independence, that book. Oh my God. Yeah, I read that. That's my all-time favorite book. And of course, everyone's like, Where the Wild Things Are. Like that, last page always kind of made me know, there's still hot food, which is awesome.
Yeah, one of my very favorite books from childhood was Tommy DePaola's The Knight and the Dragon. And that is a book about a dragon who's never fought a knight, and a knight who's never fought a dragon. And so they decide like, oh, they got to fight each other. And they go to the library to try to figure out how to do this, because they're not really sure. And it's a great book about like thinking that you're supposed to have a conflict with someone. And so then you have to like kind of go through the motions and do these things. But it turns out that they don't really want to fight each other. And I don't want to spoil the ending, but there's a great twist ending that involves burgers and food. And it was just a really kind of fun story. And actually my dad gave that to me when my younger brother was born. So I think it was like planting the seeds of like, you can get along even if you think you're not going to. But I always really loved Tommy DePaola's art and his illustrations and characters. And this one was, I grew up in Connecticut, and he was from near where I grew up, so his books were kind of everywhere when I was a kid. But this one was sort of especially silly, and even though we had, I think, probably all of his other book, this one always just sort of spoke to me because it was quirky and fun, but it also, it was about actually dealing with a problem and figuring out how to become friends and how to work together. Thank you, Henry.
That was a good question, Henry. Robin Rosenthal has a more technical question, namely, Suzanne, what program do you use for your art?
I use Photoshop. Robin. Yeah, I do the original sketch. I do original thumbnailing with pencil on the manuscript, and then I'll scan those in, and then I will work digitally. But now I work mostly traditional, which is interesting. So I've swapped out my next books.
And Jessica Bagley has multiple things. First, she says she actually has letters in her ears.
True.
Awesome. And then she was asking to Suzanne, what was the hardest spread of the book to illustrate? And to Alex, what was the hardest part of the book to write?
Oh, I think the hardest part to illustrate was probably not the final illustrations, but making the book was a real struggle. It's the page where you see all the kids peeking over the fence. When I figured out that page as a pencil sketch, I figured out the book. So getting to that point, that's probably the hardest sketch to get to. Or image, that was the hardest thing. Oop.
I think the challenge, and Suzanne and I have talked a lot about this, it's really tough to write about feelings and leave an openness for the reader without telling them how they should feel or what you should do or how you should solve things. And so making sure that it kept the child's voice, the voice of the kids throughout, was an important thing, and it was challenging. And then it was just sort of like kind of figuring out how the arc would work and what were the feelings being expressed, and making sure that there was the right kind of tension point and counterpoint between the feelings, and that they were, building in a way that would lead to a climax, and then that the resolution made sense. And so I feel like it was a lot of trying to get the feel just right, so that it felt like it had an openness and an honesty to it that felt like it was in the voice of the kids. There's a lot of rewriting.
Yeah, a lot of crying.
A lot of crying.
Crying. all the feelings are like, oh, a new feeling.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, at some point, Susanna and I, we said that the book is the problem, the book is the answer, because all of the things that we felt about trying to make the book are actually in the book, about feeling tired and feeling frustrated and feeling worried and nervous. And like, so we kind of went through that entire journey. I definitely like the part where it actually clicked when I kept saying that to myself, and that's where it clicked to put in the part about wanting to quit, because it's exactly how I felt. Like there was definitely a moment in trying to write this where I just couldn't make it work out, and I was just like, well, maybe I could.
We don't need to finish this book.
Pay back my advance. Sorry, Erin.
That's where you got that line. That was so good.
That's where the line comes from. It comes from a deep place.
I just think it's fascinating how sparse it is, and yet there's so many layers in it. Like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, allowing the reader to do so much of the work while presenting them with so much. It's so great.
Well, and I mean, that also kind of goes back to welcome. Like, we
Mhm.
want to create books that will create a feeling in the reader, but allows them to explore something that's within themselves. So with Welcome, it was inspired by Suzanne's wonderful original poster of the kids at her daughter's school. And I saw that, and it reminded me of the kids in our neighborhood at my kids' school here in Brooklyn. And one of the things that I, you know, was inspired to create a story that gave you the feeling that looking at that poster gives you, that happiness, that openness, that I feel like I've been very fortunate as a parent to have my kids go to school where, from walking in the door, the principals and administrators and teachers have made the community so welcoming, and that the students all know that school is the place for them, and that they all have a space and a voice there. And I wanted to kind of create something that would give teachers a vehicle to create that culture themselves. And sometimes in saying those words aloud, it helps develop that feeling. And the wonderful thing with Suzanne's art is that she adds so many multiple layers with her illustrations of all these sub stories that I didn't even know were going on when I wrote it. And it allows kids to follow along and really be part of the narrative and write their own kind of version of it. And we hope through that, and through seeing, visions of themselves in books, that it'll inspire them to write their stories and tell their stories. And write about the things that they really love about, because that's one of the things that's always guided us, is writing something that's been something that's close to us, is something that we love, and our community is something that we love, and all of our kids and family and friends.
We have another question from Robin. Do you guys have any ideas for future books together? I think subtext that she can steal, but no.
I know where you live,
that's not the
Robin.
question at all.
We do.
We have ideas we can't say.
We can't say, but we're working on ideas. We're at the big plans today stage, right?
Yes. They have more stories to tell, right?
So yeah,
they do. Sorry, Robin.
She's also wondering, how long did it take for you to make the book?
Well, the story, I don't know if you've read the thing in Publishers Week, we actually made a book first and we threw it out. So this is like the second of the same book. So I think, Alex, how long did it take us? Over a year and a half? Or was it 2 years?
I think it was a year and a half. It was maybe a year and a half, or maybe it was 2 years. It took a while. We wanted all our welcome was so warmly embraced by so many teachers and families and kids, that we wanted a companion book to really speak to something else that parents and teachers and kids could use. And so we read a lot about social emotional learning and a lot about child psychology and studies, and tried to kind of synthesize feelings and emotions and like our responses to them, and what kind of constructive classroom, like the socially emotional learning that they were doing in school, and how we might write something that would add to that conversation, in a different way. And doing that in rhyme with a limited text with all of that cast of characters that are like populating the page, it just took a while. So
and I think the first one we did that we threw out was trying to encompass everything in the kitchen sink. And then after a nice big feeling breakdown for a couple of months, we took a break, and came back. And that one drawing I talked about, I ended up meeting Alice Provost's daughter, who's her parents are very famous mid-century illustrators, and I saw this image, and that totally inspired that page. So I think sometimes you need that time. It's hard as a creator because you want to get your story out. You just have to give it time. And I think I feel like everything, that all the feelings you could feel, I think we felt through the whole book, making the book, and how long it took.
Yeah.
So sometimes just takes a longer time.
No, and I think that extra time, sometimes it's just about being on the journey. And I know some friends on the chat are writers, and I'm a big believer in letting it rest, because often in that like stepping away, you can come back to it more clear-eyed and sort of know how to solve your problem and make the story better. And sometimes it's just about taking that time to let the story breathe, to think about what you're trying to center, think about who the story is for and how you can serve them. And as Suzanne always reminds me, play and have fun.
Yeah. And then I think we're also really lucky our editor, Aaron Clark, and our art director, Martha Rago, gave us time for it to breathe, like for us to embrace those big feelings, and that and then all the collaboration with them.
And honestly, it made the book so much better. I mean, like when I had the first draft and we started working on it, like we were excited. We're like, yeah, we got this. It's gonna be good. And then and then we're like, no, actually, this is not working.
And I got nothing left.
And it became so much better. And so I think through the collaboration, through their nurturing, through their support, good guidance, it really made a stronger book than what we initially, set out and thought we were going to do. So, big love.
And they allowed us to keep it that simplicity, that room for kids, like they understand that, and we're open to that, which is great.
Yeah. Great questions, guys.
I had to call back. You guys are done talking. Yeah, those are good questions. Good answers. You guys are very open and sweet. I love it. Just like the book. It all comes full circle. Luckily you feel the right feelings. I don't see any more questions. I love the book, both of them. You guys are amazing. And thank everyone for coming. You can get the book at our website. It's easy for us to get, or easy-ish to get Alex to sign the books. It's not easy for us to get Suzanne to sign the books. So you have to figure something else out there. Jessica said, thanks so much for sharing, which is really all we can say. So thank you. Unless you have any parting words, I think this is a great, I had a great time. Thank you for
awesome way to cap off
thank you.
today. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.